Canadian Union of Postal Workers will hold a news conference next hour to provide an update on negotiations with Canada Post. The union says they want to address what they call misinformation about the bargaining, which has now dragged on for more than a year and a half. Last month, the union responded to the Canada Post offer that called for a proposal for higher wages, but did make some allowances for part-time workers. The Crown Corporation has not responded to the proposal, but it has asked the union to align its expectations with Canada Post's dire financial realities. And for more on this, let's bring in CTV's Scott Hurst. And Scott, CUPW, getting ready for that update. What can we expect?
Good morning, Roger. As you pointed out, this has been a long, drawn-out process as the two sides remain apart on finding a new negotiated contract, really a new deal that has evaded both sides for well over a year and a half this morning. So, as you mentioned this morning, the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, CUPW, says it will provide an update on the status of negotiations from its perspective and address what it calls misinformation. Now, the Postal Workers Union, which represents some 55,000 mail carriers across the country, remains on the job delivering mail, but has banned overtime since May. And of course, you likely remember the union members took to the picket lines late last year before being ordered back to work. Now, in May, Canada Post tabled what it called its latest and final offers to the union, but that was overwhelmingly rejected by both the urban and rural bargaining units, as postal workers continue to say, and they've been clear in this, that they're not here to make concessions, Roger, that erode jobs, rights, or the public service.
And Canada Post just reported that $407 million loss in the second quarter. Because of all the labor uncertainty, this must leave those 55,000 workers wondering how they're going to negotiate this one.
Yeah, well, from the Canada Post perspective, the losses continue to mount, but as recent as late last month, the union has argued Canada Post is not serious about bargaining in good faith. As I mentioned, that is from the union's perspective, saying despite members' decisive rejection of that so-called best and final offers, the corporation, it says, has refused to move from those final offers of late May, arguing Canada Post demands concessions from postal workers while ignoring solutions that CUPW has put forward that would address service needs, improve working conditions, and secure the future of the postal service. Meanwhile, from the perspective of the Crown Corporation, Canada Post confirmed it received the counteroffers from CUPW in response to the company's best and final offers from late May, but it says, unfortunately, CUPW has either maintained or hardened its positions on many items and added new demands, and the gap between the parties remains substantial at this time. That is from the perspective of the Crown Corporation. So we are tracking this update that we're getting from the Canadian Union of Postal Workers coming up next hour to see if they can provide more insight on where they currently stand, as it appears there is still quite a substantial gap between the two sides to come to this deal that has evaded both sides, as you mentioned, for quite some time, Roger.
All right, Scott, thanks for that.
Thanks, Roger.